Okay. 303, first item on the agenda to approve the minutes of November and December. Did everybody have a chance to look at those? And do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Tricia. Do I have a second? Thank you, Kristen. Do we have any comments or corrections? No?
No.
All right, do all in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Okay, I'll put it. Great. So we didn't, in our December meeting, for those who were there, we had a great presentation from Julia about our Explore metrics. And in the minutes, there's a link to the PowerPoint presentation. It's always pretty amazing and worth taking a look at. You can also go to the recording of the meeting and be able to see that as well. So I would encourage you all to review that if you have a moment. Let's go ahead. I did not put, usually I do an update on what I've been working on, but I did not include that because we had so much business to attend to today. My calendar. First thing is to approve the calendar for this year. It is the same. We are third Tuesday of the month at 3 o'clock. And I went through, there were no holidays, so there are no exceptions. So unless somebody wants to change that, do I have a motion to approve next year's calendar?
So moved.
Second.
We've got Fran and Tricia. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great. Thank you. I'll get that posted and over to the town clerk. All right. I'm just looking at the order that I have the agenda here. So it says approve restaurant week for next year, April 4th through 13th. So a little update here, or just explanation. As you all remember, hopefully we did a restaurant week last year. That was initially started with us and then included the Arts Council and the WBA. It was sponsored by all three, the two commissions and the organization. And it went really well. The restaurants, we had 100% participation and almost 100% said they would do it again and that they saw an increase in business. So people were excited about that. The WBA has asked for Sandor Max to put in a proposal to do the restaurant week for us instead of the organization we went with last time, which was Litchfield.co. And I had a long meeting with Julia about that, and she was hoping to have that proposal to me today before our meeting. I hadn't received it as I was coming downstairs. But time is of the essence, and restaurant week is in April. So I'm not really sure what to do here. I don't know if we should hold on this or approve the concept and wait to see the proposal from Sandor Max. So I'm happy to hear thoughts on that.
I think, Michelle, if you approve anything without a proposal, it's apt to muddy the waters a little bit. You might be best. I know it's, needed quick, but you can always call an emergency meeting.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. And that makes sense. So we'll just wait on that proposal. Yeah, Fran?
I'm just wondering, and Jim, please weigh in on this too. I mean, the Arts Council has approved $800 for Restaurant Week. I mean, the idea is that Restaurant Week would go forth. It's just who the vendor for it will be, I think, is in question. The WBA has not approved funds yet, but does that make a difference? I mean,
It, so the Arts Council approved $800 for a vendor for Restaurant Week?
No, for the expenses, not for, am I
Um,
correct in that, Michelle?
Right, yeah, so we approved the concept based on the proposal that we had. Um, but we're looking to get a second proposal, to do the same work. It's gonna look the same, it would be in essence the same, the date has already been chosen. So the question is, and it's the committee kind of that did the work on it, which was a combined committee. It was myself and somebody from the Arts Council and from the Business Association. Looking at which we think would be, I guess, a better fit or just the promotion of it. So,
so Michelle, and I haven't looked at the current budget relative to that. What is the line item that comes out of for the Arts Council? Do we know?
projects,
I'm sorry?
projects and promotion or something like that is I think what it is.
It was budgeted, I
Yeah,
believe.
it was budgeted. We did it last year. We budgeted it for this year. So, and the feedback from the EDC and everyone else last year too was that, we wanted to move forward because we asked that. We had sort of the wrap up stats and reports, and everyone felt that we wanted to move forward. And so we've gone ahead and chosen dates and have started talking to people, but we're just trying to sort out the promotion of it.
Yeah, I think to Fran's point, Michelle, the fact that the WBA has not yet, I think that's what Fran said, allocated any funds towards it, and you don't have a proposal yet. I think it would be premature to have any kind of a motion made to approve.
Okay, okay, so
Could I,
we'll
could I just, I mean, the WBA, I believe I think we have a meeting tomorrow. The WBA wants to move forward with Restaurant Week. It was just a question of, trying to see if Sandor Max was available to do it for an appropriate fee because they do such a good job with everything that they do for the town and have the familiarity, so that the WBA's failure, that's not the right word. The fact that the WBA has not approved it at this point is not because it's being considered whether to approve it or not. It's what is the best way to move forward with it. And I don't know how that fits in with what you're suggesting, Jim.
Yeah, again, I'm not sure what validity there would be or how you would craft a motion with no proposal and no complete funding yet.
Okay.
Yeah, my thought was that we would just approve an expenditure not to exceed, whether it's 800 or 1,000, not to exceed something for the week, and it's going to be one of the two people producing it, and so it would be based on the choice of the WBA and the committee that is representative of all three organizations.
Yeah, if you knew what you had in-house, you could certainly make a motion contingent upon or to spend not more than, you've got $800, you can say to not spend more than $800.
I am hoping that that was based on the original, that estimate was based on the original, the proposal or the Litchfield.co that we worked with last year. And I'm hopeful that the proposal from Sandor Max will come in close to that, or less. I'm not really sure. I talked with her about the scope of the project, and because they already have the website, the Explore website, and they would be just creating a page of that, I'm hoping that there'd be some potential savings there. So I am hopeful that the 800 would be enough if we felt we would
Well,
be
it's
willing
800 per organization.
per organization, correct. And that is what the Arts Council approved, so.
But so if you had all this information by your February meeting and your restaurant week is in April, is that too tight of a time frame?
I feel that because it's April 4th through 13th. So, and work will begin as shortly. But if the EDC is on board in concept, I would feel comfortable starting some of the groundwork, reaching out to the restaurants to get it on their radar. Because last time we reached out to them, some were on vacation, and so it was, we want to get them sort of secured in soon. Save the dates kind of things. Not necessarily printing of signs yet. It's too early for that. But I wouldn't want to do that if we didn't think it was going to move forward. So if the EDC feels that they're willing to endorse the concept, we could approve the money at the next meeting. I guess. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's inherently against it, but in the event that Sandra Max comes back with a number you didn't anticipate, it just.
I know. I hear you. It's tricky trying to figure out the best way to move forward, and I need to make sure I have a quorum. But I suppose we could have just a quick 5-minute call a special meeting to approve one expenditure if the need arises. I guess if the proposal comes back with a cost to the EDC of $800 to $1,000, in that range, which was what we were anticipating. Do the members here, the 6 of you, feel that you would support moving forward with that? Barring some unforeseen, something completely out of what we were expecting.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that's the case, if that's a feeling, I would feel comfortable then starting some of the groundwork until we could get the money approved, and we can decide whether that would require a special meeting or not.
And isn't it also a case that, Litchfield Co. is the fallback? I mean, and their cost is known, isn't that correct?
Yes. The
What is
800 is based on their proposal.
Right. And Julia also knows the cost of their proposal.
I think so.
No, I talked to her about that.
Okay. Yeah.
At one point. Just
Okay.
to get all the information out there.
Right. So yeah, it's anticipated she'll come in close to that.
So would Sandor Max do the web pages that were up last year then?
Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong, Fran, but I understand what the WBA was concerned. Their feedback was that the branding, the marketing with Litchfield.co on there was a little confusing, and wouldn't it be nice if we did it with Sandor Max so that it was just seamless as part of Explore, right? Explore hosted it, put it on the events calendar, but then when you clicked on it, it brought you back to the Litchfield.co website, which had the Washington Restaurant Week, and all the signs were branded with the Litchfield.co. And so it looked a little confusing. And the Litchfield.co means Litchfield County, but because we're next door to Litchfield, the town of Litchfield, it's a little confusing, a little just unclear. And if Sandor Max were to do it, it would have the same look and brand that we've spent a lot of time creating here in Washington. So I understand that it would be a little more seamless looking, and it would be on the Explore. It would be an additional page to the Explore site. Does anyone have questions? All right, as soon as I get that proposal, we will talk about it amongst the committee and the WBA, and we'll figure out which is the best way to move forward, whether it's to hold a special meeting or just go ahead and get the legwork done and approve the expenditure at our next meeting. Okay. All right. Trisha, did you have a question?
Nope, I'm good.
No. Okay. So let's go ahead and look, we have to put in our request for next year's budget. We're scheduled to meet with the selectmen, I believe, January 28th, so in a week. So what I did, so I took last year's plan and funding request and went through our current expenditures, where we stand now, how things are running. Made a couple of tweaks on a few things that I'll point out, but I put together a draft. So what I thought we could do, it's always nice to, even though it's frustrating trying to figure out what you need for a year away, you know, we're only halfway through this year, but it's kind of nice to look at the plan that we had put together a year ago and see if it holds true. And see if we need to tweak it. So does everybody have that? Actually, I wonder.
I,
I don't have the old one.
did you send
Did
it
I
this
send
morning?
the old one? Not the up. Oh, you know what? I printed copies. They're sitting here on the table. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I'm not on my own laptop, so it's never as clear to me if.
The draft in the emails that came in the email says it's for today. So I don't know if that makes.
Okay, for next year, for 25, 26, I did send.
Yeah,
I have
you
that
did
one.
send it.
Okay, good. That was my intent, so that's exciting.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Folder is empty. So for some reason, even though I'm logged in as myself, I'm having a hard time getting to my folders on the conference computer. So I am sorry about that. I don't know why I can't get to my folders. So please look at the ones that I emailed to you, and I will try to read out in case you aren't able to look at it. But I thought we could just go through each. There's only, what did we have? 7 sort of breakdown areas. So the first one is to continue to improve and expand the audience engagement with the town's print and social media to increase retail and nonprofit economic support. And I still feel that that's a main goal and mission of the EDC, and we continue to focus on that. So I think it's appropriate that it stays as number one. And the expenditures that we had there, where's that? Oh yeah. So we had increased those last year with an anticipation of an increase in postage, increase in paper. And last year we actually budgeted for all 4 newsletters to be 12 pages because the last couple had been. This year we've been at 10 pages instead of 12, so it's coming in a little bit under budget. So I feel that last year's budget is adequate to do what we needed to do. For the newsletter as well as Explore, because we had increased Explore because some of the software has increased, the subscription to MailChimp, etc. And the increase that we put in place last year has been adequate, and there's little wiggle room. So again, I think for that one, the amount from last year is appropriate. Does anyone have questions or comments on that? Yes, Liz.
Tomorrow there's this, or Thursday, there's this meeting about, what do we do about the fact that we don't have a newsletter anymore? And I'm wondering if things might emerge from that that would either fall under this EDC, more town newsletters instead of quarterly, every other month, it just seems like there is a big gap right now, and it may need to be filled through funds of, some entity in town,
So
whether
who's
this,
who's hosting the meeting on Thursday? What's happening on Thursday?
This is Voice of the Voices meeting, the one because of the demise of Voices.
Yes.
and I don't know who's hosting it. I mean, I mean, I think it's important to talk about that because, I mean, there are things that we miss not having that pretty lame paper that we did get. So I don't know if anything would come out of that, suggestions that would then say we should do our town newsletter more often, or beef up. I don't know where the selectmen's weekly thing, I don't know how many people are getting that and how many more could be added to that, say, that kind of thing.
I believe John Bonuto is the organizer of Thursday's event. I'm pretty sure.
And who is he?
He's a former member of the Board of Ed, longtime resident of town, Liz.
Uh-huh.
So he did come to our last EDC meeting actually to talk about that. And one thing that I'm pretty sure I mentioned, but I think we could maybe focus on this year and you all can tell me what you think. But Voice's coverage of our area was mainly coming to our commission meetings, town meetings, and occasionally school board meetings. It was meetings based. It wasn't like
Sometimes
out
they
on
would
the
talk
streets.
about, sometimes they would talk about events, which, the
Yeah,
selectmen.
they accepted press releases and published press releases from organizations and businesses
Right.
because we
Right,
use
yeah,
them
so
extensively.
those were press releases, so it wasn't like they went out and interviewed. It was the organizations submitting those press
No,
releases.
but there's no place for those to go now that has the
True.
same coverage the Voices had.
That is true. That is true. What I think would be nice and is already in place is that once a month, our boards and commissions email that goes to the selectmen's email list. If all of the chairs and or admin that was helping with all of our committees actually submitted a brief summary of what was happening, that would help fill the gap, I think, of the communication of what's happening in our town meetings. We could get a blurb from the school board, etc. So I feel like that could possibly help, and that's already in place. Not everybody submits a report, but yeah, I don't know, if it were to come to printing another newsletter. I don't know. All of the organization, the nonprofits and the commissions are already submitting articles to that. I don't know, but it's not as timely. They're not talking about like this month's meeting or last month's meeting. It's more a forward-looking initiatives. I don't know. We can see if there are recommendations that come out of that.
How many people get the town newsletter versus getting the selectmen's weekly blast?
So, I wish I had all of my invoices with me.
Well, that goes to all postal patrons, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's it's around 2,200, 2,000. I forget, a little, just over 2,000 is my recollection. I'll have to look at how many we print. So the newsletter goes to every household, an NPO box holder, right? It's the whole town. And then I print additional ones to go to the market and the Hickory Stick. I bring some up to Gunnery, Rumsey if I have enough. So they're distributed around. The selectmen's email list, last I looked, I think it was just over 16. Were we at 16 or 1,800? So that is
getting there.
Yeah. And that's when we paid to put an insert in the tax bills, just in last year's budget at some point, I forget which bill it was, and we collected a few more from that. And then the welcome letters that I send to new homeowners, I give them a form so they can either give me my email, and I tell them how to go online to sign themselves up. So that has been something that we continually work on. And when we go to the Harvest Fest, or when we go to the community days, we collect emails, we have a raffle, to get people signed up. So we're working on trying to get people signed up, and in the newsletter, it says to stay in the loop. Sign up for the selectman's email, and it shows how to do that. I'll double check to make sure. Sometimes it makes it in. I'm pretty sure it always is in.
Some of those people just may not do email though,
Right.
So.
No, it's true. It's true. That's why I like the print version. And I feel like, we all get so many emails these days. It's nice to have a print version that can sit on the kitchen table or whatever for perusal. But I do think the monthly boards and commission email that goes out is not as good as Voices, although it could be actually better. They didn't come to every meeting. So it's at least one way we can fill the gap.
So this might be, go ahead.
Go on.
Oh, sorry. This might be a crazy idea. And Wayne and I had this conversation several years ago, and I have no idea how it worked because I don't listen to podcasts. But what if there was a podcast, like a weekly podcast, that the link would be on the Washington website, and other, maybe in the community Facebook page, blah, blah, whatever. I mean, somebody would have to be a really good host for it to work, and they could, bring in different commission people or nonprofit leaders or business people, depending on what's going on, and disseminate the information that way.
That's so funny you say that, because Bruce and I are working on a podcast now.
Oh, wow, look.
Yeah, but it won't
Synchronicity.
I know. We were thinking of doing something like that, but it wouldn't be happening until summer.
Right. Which is also something to see if somebody superintendent was a user. So, one month survey, I was like, what is the last meeting where we're working on with meetings or whatever. The link to back to the website, I have a meetings with the agenda.
And you can find Jim's email. You can put something from them into the email.
She did, another looking for, so it's probably place. It's a weekly one. Because now it's not very long. So, it's not again.
Another change is taking place is whether being sold first, and the bank is going to sign that within the next week or so. I think that is going to mean expansion of coverage for sports events for all of them, some digital bouncers by that. Where there's one that anyway, we can have communication for many people who subscribe.
Yeah. I wonder. It's basically something if you want information about what's happening now, we have to create it ourselves. And that might be something where not posting on social media, and if they like sharing about what's happening in Alex, sort of basis, maybe we can have them including sort of learn about that. I mean, we could worry where they try to keep that. We have to a little bit too. Maybe the board commission comes out bi-weekly instead of monthly, and if our board commission and schools, something like that. I guess we'll continue to talk about that. It's come up in several schools that we don't have a lot of coverage, and it's communication goals are involved in the version of how to gather information and put out. Things like that, really end and are aware of it, so we can try to continue that, and maybe if we're getting the voice of coverage, maybe we will do use some sort of mailer to get or flyer or some kind of information to our about the first commission.
If you want to give some thought, or where you are, in other words, as a community, for example, you attach minutes of every meeting to monthly or digital list. As I mentioned, how many places we feel that you have to make available numbers, it's not like it's like how more. Yeah, I can how and where we stop and shop. You know what I mean? It's all there. I think it's what's happening about the newspaper, so it's saying that's what we form. Much more you do. The board of commissions was on class. It's where they get a teaser. For a couple of sentences about what commission working on, and usually back to it. Just to in place. Just to sure, say this is what we're working on this month, or this is working for us. This is not things that people might know about, like this the for example, or the second, or for commission checker, you just move on. So that's what we're trying to say. We're talking about those. Because otherwise, they ask people to just continue to go back to the website and see if they're be interested. I don't know. I really never one person that can work. But I don't think we need to create our own newspaper either. I know that we allow her. Just produce it really very slower. I just got to be able to zero and the designer here, Thomas Landa, and Scarlett going to be 2 minutes, 5 or 6. So I feel like just shut down the next one. So I would like to add another really better newsletter to this channel. I don't have a lot of time. I don't actually have a lot of people on this stuff. I don't think I'm going to read it very quickly. No, and the offer can say from the content and information. You get understand because now we're last. Say so I have to say no. There's a little bit of way information all there. And it's talked about here and John and the commissioner's chairs. I have additional time to have some other board commissioners.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of envisioning if we did 6 months, like one month would be board commissioners now, and the other one would be from the school board, and it would be like school board and sports. So really, one month for each of them, but all day, every week. It's just a thought, you know, maybe, and that is no cost. It's just a little bit more work coordinating. So mostly stuff is already being increased for parents on the school side. So we could probably work on that. Maybe a little bit extra 2 lines for figure out a way to do that for commissions, you know, so that is helping people have voices. I think that's a possibility. I would work on that over an additional print. I don't just want to be the main power for that. I just have to keep that in mind. Things. We have okay. All right. Number 2 is the budget item for us. It's working on efficient and again. I do all the time communities to help spread out. Junior director can, but it's very fun. I requested access to commission. Number 3 is continue to work with the VA to start by update distribution, joint meeting motion, and release. And we're working on update right now. They're all on easy to update and having their right. So there's a pipeline there for $1,000. I can't remember how much we spent, but we're going to give 22. I believe when we did last print, so it'll be 2.5 years ago. And I will find the cost of that. But I just want that one potentially up a little bit because we're printing. So I have EC, we have printed for International Hall and printing out Welcome Center, and then I share them. People come to me and say, "When can you town?" And I staff for yes, so I think I can staff to individual ends for having a customer coming to town. So I would increase that supply print line actually up to 1,500. See. Well, last year or last time we printed 7,000 copies, I think, but this is NWA. A lot of those as well, which is great. So off her book now. And you don't have that in this, do you?
No, I don't.
I have it in my folder.
Isn't the goal to get the print this spring, not in the next fiscal year?
Oh, yeah.
That's true. We did those before. That's July 1.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a good point. Okay.
And do you have a proposal maybe after that? Yeah.
Well, we already paid for the update in the end of last year, but we paid for the third. I don't have an estimate for the net. I would assume that the cost per book has probably gone up. But we're still working on getting that in. So
And I mean, I know you're pursuing businesses that bought books previously and schools. I just don't know what the participation rate will be in that many of them seem to have spoken away and forgot they had them. And so, I mean, that's going to be a little bit of a conundrum.
Yeah.
So, and the WBA, I mean, certainly will contribute toward the thing, but I think it's important to know what the cost is going to be because I'm certain of the cost of this thing, quite frankly.
yeah, no, agreed. We will. I'll be getting an estimate from them. I had been waiting to tell you how many we were going to be ordering. That would make a difference. So, really, like I said, need to do while we're working on it is reach out to each of the people who bought them last time and see if I know Mayflower's out and they're very interested. I have not contacted the schools yet, so I don't know where they stand. So,
And they should be able to give you a quote. I mean, a printing quote for assuming that it's a booklet the same size, relatively the same size. I mean, there are businesses that are going to come out, but there are others that are going to go in. So I mean, it's almost a known factor. But
yeah, but it changes depending on how many you order. You know, it's less per piece.
well,
You
but I
would
mean, you know, up to 5,000 costs
Right.
and 5,001 to 10,000. I mean, that's the kind of thing I'm looking for.
yeah, so we'll ask them for that.
Do the realtors buy them too?
Yes. And Grace could find, I think I asked like 4 times. They're like, oh, I'm looking in the basement. I can't remember if we have them. And somebody I think had some and gave them to the WBA. Is that correct?
Well, they gave them to people to pass out. Yes.
Okay. So yes. So it's traditionally the
Plan
schools,
did not
realtors,
participate.
which is yes. I'll ask them again. I don't remember. They didn't do the original, so I don't know if they were approached for the reprint, the second reprint. But I'll reach out to them and see if they're interested.
Michelle,
Yes.
how many requests for the booklets or special events, say weddings or whatever? How many would you say average a year?
Actually have maybe 3 or 4 requests. They aren't all weddings, but they're of some event of some sort of people coming into town and they would like to be able to share it with these guests or whatever. I'm sure the last one I had, it was not a wedding.
What would the
I
average?
think it was for somebody who was like renting out their maybe their Airbnb an apartment or something. Like we had people coming through. Well, and Posh Pads, which is a rental that does the usually like a month at a time. He usually the places in order so that they can be in the rental homes. I usually give them a stack of like 10 or 15. I never give out like 100. I just give them a small stack.
I had an idea, but it's just one quantity to do that. Just to check something.
Which I didn't hear that last part. You said you had an idea, but it was a
I
small.
had an idea to generate some extra money. Very often, an event would come in, say like the Gilmore Girls or a huge wedding where there's 200, and you would have to supply 200. You could put a banner on each one of those that they would pay for, welcoming the guests to, John and Mary's wedding. But for 10 copies, that's not gonna make you money. But it's something the paper banner the magazines use to put on each cover and personalizes it for the guests of that person.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's nice, and it's a big revenue stream for the publisher.
Oh, that's something to think about. We never.
Yeah, so
Yeah, never sold them.
we rent out to make money on.
Right. Yeah, I'm usually just handing out small stacks and figuring that they're exactly our target audience. So I'm happy to do that. So yeah, that's something we can think about. You're right, Fran, that print needs to happen this spring. So let's just leave the supplies budget for working with the WBA as is, and we will move on. I also just to report the $5,000 for the winter lights was great. It allowed me to order the lights in late summer so that they could be here on time, before the fundraising went into place, and we had lights ready to go. And the fundraising, I'm still tying up some last little billing, but I think we're gonna come out almost exactly even, really close. So.
And what was the total? I mean, what is the total cost of the lights at this point?
I think it's like 16,000, might be a little bit more. I have to look and see. This year, the arborists and the electricians there's a couple of the restaurants that sponsored, requested them get billed separately. So I'm still kind of sorting out, itemizing, and putting some community tables this year, which hopefully people got to see that. It's wonderful because they're so far up on 202 up in the Woodville area. It was nice to have that sort of introduction. So don't quote me on that. I'll get back to you on the total cost. But I feel like it was around 16. Actually about 3. The broadband fiber optic network, we've left that in there with $1,000 to use for survey or printing. You know, that we have a little subcommittee, we had ARPA money, we had to return the ARPA money because we didn't spend it in time because Frontier is wiring the whole town. Wayne is really on top of that, with Jim. We're gonna and earmark some money in this next budget to do a study to figure out where all of Frontier did not go and how much it will cost to bring fiber to the rest of the town. So that is still an active item. It's just been moving slowly as we wait for Frontier to finish their install here in town. And so I would leave that in case that's needed for outreach as we try to locate the last people that have not received fiber. All right, next one. Under sustainability, working on those objectives, which are thriving local economies, vibrant creative cultural ecosystems, complete streets, sidewalks, bicycle parking, and effective communications. So we have 2,000 here for quick guides and brochures. I want to add to that list parking signs. I did have some parking signs made for the municipal lots here in the depot, and I'm going to have some made for the Nick Platt lot up in New Preston. I also did some yard signs this year to put out for additional parking during farmers markets and large events. We used them for the Harvest Fest to help people find parking. So I think in that whole category of signage, parking, brochures for some of the other areas that we didn't get to yet, which were the farms and bike paths, but are still on the list. So I would leave that line item. I have good news, Jim. I don't know if he stepped out or not, but I did see that this type sidewalk project is going to be going to submit that for steep grant. So I'm thrilled about that, Jim.
Yeah, steep this year is $1 million, so they're not.
What?
So
well, the first phase is we cover the whole plan, but
my other part today, just make application to see how part half who administers the steep grant for state and getting all in good standing and ready to go there. So hopefully we'll get the word from them.
But I wanted to talk to you about that this morning, but you were on a call. But I will. I'll check in with you. But I'm thrilled that we'll be submitting the tightest sidewalks for a steep grant. So again, the whole placemaking village centers is moving forward, and I'm thrilled about that. Which is part of action number 6, conduct survey review, outline improved pedestrian parking options. We're still working on all of that tightest sidewalk plan. We didn't have any money budgeted here. It's mostly just my time working on those, but we were requesting that we continue to put money into the capital account for sidewalks. So we'll see where that shakes out, and I'll see what the timing is on the steep grant. But I would suggest we continue to just keep, as a regular, put some money into the sidewalk account because there's a lot to be done. The last one with budget item, support and advance town and regional arts and culture organizations and events. I can edit the year here, 5 to 6. It's not newly formed, but we work with our council process part because that we started, and Julia and I basically get all the dates to put together on that. So I would leave that item as well. Does anyone have? Basically, there's no change. I wouldn't suggest anything. No. All right. I think we should go ahead and just approve this. To submit last year's budget for this year as a committee. I'm not sure it's required, but just in case it is. Do I have a motion to approve that? To approve. Right, Tricia? Do I have a second? Second. Right, all in favor? Great.
Show me as an abstention, not because I have an issue with anything, but it's a little bit conflicting creating the budget if my colleagues. I want to speak for them.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'll put you in as an abstain. One abstention. Yep. All right, great. Well, that was easier than I thought. And I'll get the few questions that we had. I'll make sure I get those numbers to you for the next meeting. All right, quickly. Gilmore Girls Fest in New Milford, April 11, 12, 13. I am just bringing this to your attention at the moment. It's coming up quick. I had a young woman give me a call. She actually called me before. She called me Milford asking about a fest. I told you all of this, I think, a couple meetings ago. And I had suggested she wanted to come in the summer or fall. And I said, oh, we're already so busy. How would you consider the spring? The April 11, 12, 13 is the second week of our restaurant week, which is great. And she said, great, sure. And she contacted New Milford so that it could be sort of a joint thing. And they were on board. She's already rented a venue, the big sports, I think it's called CSA Sports Arena, something down in southern New Milford. She put tickets for sale 2 weeks ago, I think it was. It was very recently, and they sold out in 2 hours. All 800 tickets. Yeah, and she only had one event and one celebrity signed on at that time. So she's still building events. But in her life, she came to my office, and she's interested in having buses come from New Milford up to Washington on the weekend for what she was calling a passport tour. So the businesses could be on the passport. Either hosting, things to see that are related to Gilmore Girls. So they would just kind of check off. They would have a couple hours to walk around the depot and do that, as well as she was considering having either an author talk or some other events here at Town Hall. So it's all very in the works right now, but I wanted you all to know that it is definitely happening in New Milford, and we can make as much or as little of it as we want here in Washington. So, and I'm sure the WBA is going to want to talk about this as well. Yes, Fran.
I mean, can you give me her contact information, because I do have an author that would be appropriate for that weekend.
That's wonderful. Yes, I can give you the contact info.
The same girl that handles it every year? Or is
No, this is a different group.
It's a different group. And they have experience with producing fests around TV shows. They've done, Vampire Diaries and Outer Banks and, a bunch of the shows that sort of appeal to the teenage 20s something crowd. The woman who does the fan fest is strictly focuses on the girls, and they sort of following them. So it's different. And she is actually, I really enjoyed speaking with her. She wants this to be, she's not looking for anything from the town. She's not looking for the town to purchase anything. She really wants it to be, to everyone to enjoy themselves. Not just like a good experience. So she would rather keep it small and do it right than make it huge and have it, everyone get frustrated by it. So see Jim. So we've lost Jim and we lost Kristen. So I'm excited about this because I think there's a lot of really wonderful possibilities of creative things that the businesses can do if they choose to, or things that we could do here at Town Hall. Whether they have, if you know the Gilmore Girls, there are townwide events. There's a living art event where people can stand in front of a backdrop of a painting and then they take their picture in front of that. And there's a dance-a-thon. I think they're probably doing that down in New Milford, but there's just these townwide events that we could probably recreate at least one thing here in Washington to kind of bring the fans in. So
Those fans, I remember going to one of the fest. They dress up as Rory and the mother. We
Lorelai?
Yeah, Lorelai. We could do a lookalike contest or something.
oh, fun.
Like
Yeah.
something like that.
That's a great idea. Because they do. They come. I've seen like 8 women all dressed the same.
And
So
it'd be a draw.
say that again, 2 seconds. I'm coming
It'd
to
be
hear
a draw. They really get into it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's here around and check out Hungry Stick and Marty's Coffee Shop and all of the different places with a blurb of like how the show is based on that. And, the businesses can do as much or as little as they like with it. So I want to get the word out soon. So if it's feel like kind of here, Town Hall, if it'd be a larger event.
It would be, I mean, yeah, if they wanted to make it a larger event, yeah.
Yeah.
No, we see Gilmore Girl fans every single day, to a greater lesser extent. They're just very nice people.
Totally.
So what were you saying?
Are you going to give the Restaurant Week people a heads up that these are going to overlap?
Yeah.
Because then they could throw something in that weekend, maybe special for them. Blah, blah.
The special menu, yeah, that would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
What else? Not exactly.
Lorelai Sunday or something.
You can
There
do
will also be, there will also be both before and after. I mean, whatever their scheduled events in the Milford will be, there will also be people here in town before and after the event. I mean, that's a given.
Yes, agreed. And so I want to let the restaurants know just so they can be ready, staffed up, and they can something like that, and something else. And next thing you know, there's lines out the door. So, I want to let all of the businesses know just so they can be ready. And I think it would behoove everyone to have a little sign in the window or to have a special or a coffee named after Lorelai or whatever. It could be big or small, but I don't know. The hardware store can even stock something that's very sort of show appropriate. I can't think of something right now, but I'm sure there is something. So, if you continue to brainstorm, I'm going to do the lookalike content. I'll submit that in. Any other ideas? While you're out and about, go if you're especially Fran and Robin. I know you see Maggie at the Pola. Go ahead and let them know before even if the official channels haven't announced it yet, right? Because I want people to be ready and prepared for that. Right. Any other discussion on that? Right. Old business, the guidebook update. I did finally get the pages that we're all responsible for mailed out. I started looking at my pages. I'm hoping that we can get the update squared away over the next couple weeks. Get those edits to Julia, because then there's always this sort of like back and forth time period. And during that time, I'll start reaching out to the businesses because we'll need to start getting the order, the number of books they make. We're going to start working on that. It's a bit challenging. People keep changing the
So how do you want the, you send out pages, how do you want the feedback sent to you with regard to the
that's
page?
right. I sent it. So Robin did get back. I asked if I'm hoping that a shared spreadsheet will work for everybody, and I'll set it up. And basically, what it will look like, you'll just put in the page number, the old information, and then the new information, so we know what's being updated. And I'll start populating it so you can see what that will look like. Would that be okay, Fran?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as I was looking at it, there's some questions that came up, like why aren't some things might have been left out on purpose? For example, the Washington Town Beach isn't mentioned at all, even though the state park is. Was that sort of because it's not open to everyone, or it seemed like it would be a draw for people who were thinking about coming to town to live, but that wasn't in there. The senior center I think wasn't in there, and now that it's more vibrant than it has been in past years, that might be some. I don't know if when you did it the first time, some things were just said, oh, we don't want that in there. So I want to be adding things that have already been sort of nixed, so to speak.
I think the categories are more generalized in terms of the things to do.
It talks about the state park beach and it talks about various sea product reserves. So that.
I was not part of the original one. I was part of the update, but it's a visitor's guide. So, for example,
it's not really
it's not residents really. Okay. I'm sure some residents pick it up, but it's really for somebody coming to town trying to figure out what do I do. Right? If you live here, it's all online, so hopefully residents aren't like continually picking up copies to see if a store is open. Like it's such a small community. I'll see each other. If you want to know something,
that kind of question really is devoted
for visitors.
People coming down that don't. Yeah, okay.
That's right. And if you come to town hall, out front, I have a clear box there. And it's got a visitor's guide, and then it's got a services guide next to it, which is a brochure for residents, and it's got Parks and Rec phone number and Legion Hall, the senior center, and land use, and the selectman's office. Little blurbs like this is where you go when you need to get your recycling bin or you want to get your deck approved. Just kind of more for residents, not for visitors. So they're separate. But that was a good question. And the Legion Hall, the Welcome Center at the front of Legion Hall, was just coming online with the last update, so we can maybe highlight that. So that's a good point, because there are restrooms and water there. So I'll make sure, maybe in the intro somewhere, that would be like sort of the starting place.
One of the things on my list, or my page, was the sports thing. Is pickleball something that people coming to town could do, or is that a residence thing?
Yeah, the parts right. They're supposed to be building pickleball courts.
But right now, where's it happening now?
Right now, it's happening at the gun school as part of the Washington Club, or on people's private courts. So there's no public courts yet, but it's in the budget. And I think the intent is to get them built in the spring. So it'll be maybe you should add, because the whole town park, the ball fields and everything is on there as a place to go, right? Isn't it? The playgrounds, the tennis courts. I forgot to copy down with me.
Mine's all good, and that's on my table here, because
No,
sports and recreation, bicycling, camping, steep rock, tennis. Play tennis at the Chippewa School in Washington Elementary School, so I guess there'd have to be a place to do it.
don't they do pickleball at the elementary school too?
If they're gonna be putting it down there, and it's where the Riverwalk is and the playground, so maybe just a blurb about that whole town park complex down there should be beefed up a little bit. Basketball courts, because certainly, especially in the summer and on weekends, visitors are welcome to use the playgrounds or to walk on the Riverwalk down there, which is a nice little walk. So I'll take a look at that. It's just sort of a recreational area. That's a good point. And speaking of updates, Fran, have you heard how are the new stores in the depot coming? I've seen paper over the windows.
Paper, but I don't know what's happening. And David Miles is retiring, so that's another space that has become available.
Okay. And Jay McLaughlin space?
That's being renovated right now, but I don't know the name of the new business.
Me either. It's coming online so soon though. I want to make sure I get those in the update.
Right.
You know,
I
even if it's
was
just
going to ask you what you knew about the
And the dog store.
behind the paper. I'm sorry,
what I knew about what?
what you knew about what was behind
What I
the
knew about
paper.
the I don't, you know what, I will follow up. The first time I heard about it,
And I don't think the company that was is in what was the Kramer and Anderson office had been in the previous guidebook, so that's an addition as well.
Right, maybe not. I'll have to look and see what exactly they do, because it wasn't CFK Interiors and then CMK Architects or something like that. I don't know, there's some initials there. And I'm pretty sure they're in our services guide, which is online, but
Okay,
I don't think they're a store, so I don't think we had them in the
Okay,
print
all
guide. And I don't think you could walk in and purchase something. But yeah, so I'm making my eyes on all those spaces and make sure that we have the updated information before we print. Good thought. Any other thoughts on the guidebook update? We have some work to do on that. That's sort of I want to say my next project. We also have the Gilmore Girls in the restaurant week, so we have a lot coming up. Gearing up for spring here. All right, if there are no other questions on that, Fran, do you have anything else you want to share with us from the WBA?
So we haven't met, so I
Okay.
don't know anything to ask at the moment.
So do you think you're meeting tomorrow?
I think so, but I'm not 100% sure.
All right, I'll keep watching for that. Sometimes Julia will send me stuff. She works later. She'll work until 6 or 7, so I'll try to make sure I watch for a proposal from her in case there's something to forward to your meeting. I
Right.
also wanted to let everybody know that Lisa let me know of her intention, Lisa Stein, to step down from the EDC. She has not written a letter formally to the selectmen yet that I'm aware of. She wants to find another WBA person to take her space, which I told her was great. She just hasn't been able to come to meetings and has been on for a long time. Although you probably have 2, Fran, huh? Yeah. So let me know how that goes. I told her to just keep me posted, whatever. And I personally feel like if you, I don't know how that works for voting, almost like just a declared WBA seat and whoever could make it. I've tried for the last few months. I've included this page on the email because she has zoomed in on occasion when she can. I don't know if she'll be chosen to be the replacement, but
It's hard for her because she's a single person operation, so to attend a meeting and wait on customers at the same time if one pops in is difficult.
yeah, that's a challenge.
That's what she's expressed as her concern.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why I send her the link, and sometimes she just, listens
Right.
while she can and turns us off while she has people coming in. So I'll let you all think about that, but I just wanted you all to know that was probably coming down the line. I don't think I have anything else. And I'm trying to think, Selectmen have been pretty busy with the speed signs and the Lake Orma report, which did come back and is posted online, and there will be an informational session coming up soon. So I know that was one of the last things I talked about. Anyone have any other business or items of concern?
I have a random question, and it can just be yes or no from everybody. Because the 4th of July falls on a Friday. Normally we would have music on a rain that day, but I can't decide whether we should try it or not. So, what is people's gut reactions? Like, do you think people would go?
4th of July?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Would you have a 4th of July themed music event?
It would really just be whoever's available that day. I mean, they might want to play some stuff, but
I was just talking with Seth. Will also be the turn 50th of the country. So we were just talking about, 4th of July. 4th of July used to be a huge thing in our town when we had the fireworks up at
Right.
Chicago. And now we don't.
Right.
So there's really not a lot going on. I kind of feel like I would give it a go. And
Right.
maybe even make it 4th of July, like doing something a little special. Like, I don't know, even if it's just having sparklers for sale and
Yeah, okay.
fireworks, but like just kind of lean into it maybe a little bit. Something that's like themed treats that are being sold,
Okay.
like an ice cream shop or something. I don't know. Because
Yeah,
you
alright.
maybe make it the thing to do on July 4th.
fair. But I was just like, I'm missing something. I don't know how people do
I don't know.
stuff, but
What do you all think?
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, people don't go to fireworks if they happen that night, maybe much later, if they were that night even.
It's true. And the fireworks on the lake are really lovely, but it's crazy, parking, the traffic, like only a few people get
Right.
really partaking in that. It's not really set up for it to be community wide. So
Maybe we could screen the fireworks on it.
oh, well, there you go.
yeah, well, I definitely feel like, people, it's like sort of a picnic kind of day, night, like occasion.
Yeah.
So
I just don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot if there's usually something that goes on that I just don't know about.
I don't think there is. I was just looking at the events calendar for July and there's nothing.
Oh, there you
No,
go.
it is the week before the Green Fair, but
Yeah, well, we usually have something the week before. Because it tends to
Yeah.
go up that Wednesday, so.
should be fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I would say give it a go. Could be fun. Could actually be your biggest one. Maybe.
We'll find out.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I feel like there's some opportunity there because it's a holiday. So, people,
Exactly.
the picnicking could start earlier, or there could be
Oh, yeah.
popsicles for sale and kids throwing frisbees and people picnicking until the music. I don't know.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sure. All right. Do we have any other business? Well, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor? Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Stay warm.
Thank you.
Thanks for